Alright, so this video is a fun video that I'm doing on something that's sprouted from a run I recently read, which was the Age of Khonshu arc. Very interesting. I believe Aaron wrote the whole run, but it got me thinking, how do all of the primordial forces match up from Marvel Comics? They were explained in that run and defined to be basically 7 of them. So those are the 7 that I will be ranking from what I believe to be weakest from strongest as power sources. If you like videos like this where I break down pantheons, power sources, cosmic beings, anything of that nature, any kind of power scaling ranking videos, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my content. But anyways, let's go ahead and start with number 7. By the way, all of these at their peak easily arguable to be outerversal given they predate creation and nature. Number 7, Bast. This, of course, is the Panther God. While one might not assume this power source is incredibly powerful, believe me, it is. I mean, Doctor Doom himself considered like twice before stepping to Bast, even was like wary about beefing with him on his turf. Not to mention, Bast was once mentally hidden somewhere and then popped out and ate the Shadow King, who bullied Professor X, who can battle the Phoenix Force across infinite planes of reality. Things of that nature, as well as he's considered to be powerful enough to help Khonshu combat the devil. He's just a very strong power source. It's just, when compared to all the others, he might not be as strong, which isn't a bad thing. Like, it isn't a knock on him. This is just heavy company. Next up, we have the Spirit of Vengeance. The Spirit of Vengeance is interesting in that its hacks and its abilities allows it to match up much more favorably against certain foes. In particular, demonic nature, evil in nature, a lot of sins on their mind. They've done a lot of bad things like that. Puts you in a rough spot with the Spirit of Vengeance, and we have seen power levels for these types of characters, these spirits, being like able to neg characters like Mephisto, who's beyond concepts like time, be able to neg Galactus, battle Galactus, knock over other spirits of vengeance. It's just very high level power feats, but like the case was for Bast, it's not as impressive as the other ones. Moving on, we have Shao Lao the Undying. This one's very slept on, but I always thought it was fascinating. Even off rip in the original Iron Fist comics, Shao Lao the Undying in his true nature is stated to be boundless power. In the same way we speak about the power of Sidorak and Juggernaut was how Shao Lao was described. Shao Lao being the primordial dragon. His power as well has been able to harm Hulk, Scar, Ragnarok. It matched the power output of Ragnarok, which is the clone of Thor. Also, we saw in an alternate timeline the power of Shao Lao was able to knock back and knock down Cosmic Ghost Rider. Whole lot of powerful thing. It was seen as necessary to combat the devil as well. It was the first power grabbed. Shao Lao is very impressive, but there are few that rank ahead of him. This video, by the way, is sponsored. No, I'm just kidding. Let's keep going. Next up, we have Khonshu. This one is interesting because Khonshu didn't get a lot of shine, which was the purpose of Age of Khonshu. But Khonshu is the original protector of the Dawn of Man because he is the moon god. And this moon god status dates all the way back to the first orb in the sky of creation at the Great Splinter of everything. Khonshu was able to neg Shao Lao, match him in power, allow Moon Knight to beat Iron Fist. Also was able to overpower several of the other characters on this list and use them to combat the devil. But he wasn't the strongest. There was some he struggled with, some he didn't have complete control over, and some he blatantly wasn't as strong as. But he did outright win against Shao Lao when their avatars won, and it did seem to be a reference to who was stronger. And overall, Khonshu does, as the moon god, deserve some respect. Not many people know about him, but he is really interesting, and I did like Age of Khonshu. I believe it was the 2018 Avengers issues 33 through 38. I might be off an issue or two, but I believe that's the run. But look up Age of Khonshu. It's very good. And he is strong, and I might use him in a versus matchup soon. Spoiler alert. But let's move on. Next up, this is in our top 3. Number 3, Mjolnir. Mjolnir actually dates back before Thor. It's considered the strongest weapon ever forged in the universe, strongest weapon in creation. It comes from the original cosmological force and, quote, moon that came from the great splinter at the dawn of creation of the multiverse. The immortal, invincible Uru metal has been able to slay gods and demons alike. It's been able to combat and temporarily knock down the Phoenix Force. It's been able to emit and erupt God blasts that have harmed Galactus and stopped Celestials. Momentarily halted Juggernaut as well. Been able to combat, like, the Mjolnir itself was able to turn the tide for Thor against Hulk. Like, if he was to use Mjolnir, is made blatantly clear he would have washed Hulk at that moment. So he had to go without Mjolnir. Mjolnir turned the tide for Silver Surfer. Every time Mjolnir is added to someone's arsenal, it's a major amp, no matter what their base status was. And that's because it's one of the original weapons forged for creation. And it's incredibly powerful. And if you want a detailed video and breakdown on any of these 7, let me know. But anyways, let's move on to number 2. Number 2, Eye of Agamotto. Pretty simple why the Eye of Agamotto is here. Feats matter, and the Eye of Agamotto is not lacking in that category. We've seen the Eye of Agamotto really wild out ever since Doctor Strange. In particular, this power source has helped get W's against the following characters. It's taken on Mephisto, Dormammu, Dormammu's sister. He's been able to fight off against the multiple layers that reside within the Dark Dimension. He fought with the Eye of Agamotto, even beings like Adam Warlock, who had the entire Infinity Gauntlet. The Eye of Agamotto has such a fantastic history and resume in terms of powers it's matched that it's really hard to argue why it should not be here. Now, before we move on, 2 items that could have fit here before the next slot. One isn't from the run, but it has to do with the run. It came later, the Ebony Blade. If you want to see a video on that, let me know in the comments down below, as well as a true primordial video, as in Jason Aaron's idea of, quote, primordial powers is weird and not exactly entirely accurate. I'm just doing based on his list in Age of Khonshu, right? But if you want the real one or Ebony Blade videos, let me know. But it would fit here because it's OD. Now, one that should fit here is Starbrand, that I almost forgot and almost left out. Starbrand's very impressive in the run narratively, as it's basically prioritized as almost tied for second with Bast. Bast was needed to complete all the powers, complete the gods, whereas the Starbrand was needed as the difference maker in power, and really seemed to only be second to something like the Phoenix Force in terms of what they were looking for, and that's understandable given the reality warping capabilities of an idea like the Starbrand. The Starbrand power itself is basically supposed to give you whatever you need to protect reality. The power of reality itself has existed allegedly since creation began. It's creation level power, and it's very impressive. If you want to see an individual video on that, let me know. And it comes in many forms in this run. It came in the form of a child, but yeah, it's extremely OD, and it would fit in around here given its narrative importance in the story. Finally, number 1, Phoenix Force. No surprise. The power of the Phoenix Force is all the psionic energy in creation. It's existed before creation. It's rebirth itself, the fire of rebirth of the cosmos. It's been able to hurt pre-retcon Beyonder. Sidorak considers it a rival to his power, respectably. The Phoenix Force was considered a higher level of power straight up in the story. It was referred to as being a higher field, like realm of power. It's always been perceived as a higher force of being, even to gods like Thor, who, and recently they said Phoenix Force is possibly the mother of Thor. It is what it is. Whatever, High Outer Thor regardless. But anyways, the Phoenix Force has always been a powerhouse, always will be, especially untethered. And it was specifically in this run what really changed the game when it showed up. So that's why I have that at number 1. But anyways, guys, thank you for watching. If you like content like this, make sure to subscribe, like all that. It's been your boy, YFV. Look out for more content coming soon, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.